Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond 106.1. That's where you see me behind. 106.1, that's where you find us. International Business Coach Radio, Saturdays 10 a.m. in the East, as well as The Breeze. I'm here with my friend Adriana Duarte. Hello. All right, so what we're doing here is Hispanic Heritage Month. We're talking about mental health. I got we pull in talent from across the country. We're here in Richmond. No. We are here. Got my friends from, you guys are Brilliant Beam Media as well as the Hounds of Business. When you want to see business done right, this community here is really rock star. So Raquel, I'm going to start off with you. Let's get real quickly, tell folks who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for having us in this fantastic show as always. It's always an honor. You're just so amazing. But quickly, my name is Raquel Flores. I am a Latina healthcare advocate and, out of Houston, Texas. I'm originally from El Salvador. So, my Hispanic heritage means a lot to me. But also, to the topic that we're going to discuss today, it's very important that we start having these conversations and continue. So glad to be here.
All righty.
My name is Aggie. Oh, I'm sorry. Aggie Semrad. I am the founder of the Balance Project. It's a mental health focused nonprofit. I'm also an EMDR therapist. I live right outside of Chicago, Illinois, and I'm first generation Mexican in the US. So like Raquel, our stories, our struggles, the barriers, I'm very familiar with, and we all have them. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
All right. Sia?
Thank you. Thanks. I'm Sia Yasa Tornrat, and I'm the founder of Brilliant Beam Media. We are a boutique digital content consulting and strategy agency. We do everything from production, post-production, social media engagement, and growth. So I work with these lovely ladies, and Augie, we just met, but I actually, as a first generation Asian, grew up in Hispanic communities. So I feel like default, I've hung out with so many of my friends' houses. I gone to all the churches and all the parties and quinceañeras. I'm in there. So I like to consider myself the groupie of the Hispanic culture.
There you go.
You're an honorary.
Brilliant Beam Media, let me tell you folks, if you need some stuff done, trust me, they do business right. They definitely do business right. They got me on the right track. All right, so Adriana, tell folks who you are and what you do.
My name is Adriana Duarte, and I am a mortgage loan officer with Core Mortgage. And I'm actually a first generation American as well. My parents are Colombian. And I was actually the first one that was born in the United States in my whole family. And growing up, it was a little tough not knowing the language and trying to learn a lot of stuff and trying to be the translator for my parents. So, yeah.
That's one when we look at a school and you see the kids translating for the parents. That's a lot of responsibility on the kid. And then the parents are like, you're parenting, but you're at your kid's mercy to explain what's happening. Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, we are here talking about mental health. Ladies, let me ask you, are we better off now than we were in the past? Raquel, let me start with you because you're going to sort of guide us through this topic.
Well, thank you so much. In regards to mental health, public health in itself, it's such a broad spectrum, broad realm, but you really start finding out that there are so many gaps and disparities within our mental health as a society. We don't have the resources, we don't look for them, and that can go back to different factors, whether it's education, just lack of not knowing. And I would say we are better than we were, but we still have ginormous leaps to take. No joke. Just because, yes, we're making, noises, we're making visibility, we're making more awareness. We're bringing it to say, hey, it's okay for us to be able to speak out, right? Speak up about not being okay, and you're not going to get judgment. Growing in El Salvador, we never talked about mental health. It was either 0 to 10 on a scale. Either you were okay, you were a healthy individual, or you were crazy that you belonged in a psych ward. It was never a happy medium, meaning like if you're dealing with some levels of anxiety, depression, postpartum, depression, which I went through, but I was not able to speak about it because I would be deemed crazy. So all these different challenges that as women we're facing, as Hispanic Latinos we're facing, and I know other groups do as well. Yes, we're better because we're having these conversations, and the stigmatization is lowering, but we need to do even better now. We need to do more.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about the nonprofit world. Nonprofits are there. I always tell people I work with nonprofits where they have 1 3/4 employees and 22 volunteers trying to change the world. And
Yep.
that's what you're doing. So let's talk about your organization and how you see the world.
I'll start with how I see the world, which naturally ties into the mission of the organization. But I founded the Balance Project August of 2019, and February of 2020, we had our first board meeting, and I was like, this is real, like we're legit, here we go. We're gonna take the world on, we're gonna provide services, help people, hold their hand through that very rigorous process of identifying what's going on in here and finding the right place to land. And the pandemic hit, and I turned and I looked at my husband. I was like, I wish I can put to words what I know is coming, because it's going to be ugly. And we are low on mental health professionals, but to Reki's point, we are doing such a great job of normalizing this conversation. And what accompanies normalizing the conversation is allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because when you're open to change and open to different perspectives which can help you heal from whatever you're going through. So having said that, that's really what the Balance Project was founded on, is having my lived experience of multiple barriers, not knowing how to navigate the system, not having the right insurance, not having money to pay out of pocket, and having to wait months and months and months to see someone to get help, and then giving up ultimately, right? Because you're like, okay, well, I've booked an appointment for June 2024, but by the time I get there, I'm like, whatever, you figure it out somehow, or you think you figured it out, but we didn't. We just stored it somewhere special, and then it comes out in inopportune times in our day, right? So that's what the Balance Project tries to address. It's how do we educate others about what is going on? And, I'll start small. Like, what is anxiety? What does that mean? Like, what is depression? It looks different for everyone. And through that education component, if someone is brave enough to ask for help, we hold that hand and we take them through that process, and in hopes for them to meet someone that's a good fit. And then the other barrier that is most common is the financial barrier. So, okay, you identified something's going on, you found someone that works, oh, they don't take my insurance, or, oh, I can't pay for it. So we raise money for grants, and each grant provides 8 therapy sessions. So
There you go.
that's
So in reality, let me ask you, for your group, the Balance Project, what's the thing that you guys need? Because I always say, who takes care of the caregivers? Because the caregiver won't stop. They will not stop.
That is true.
Mm.
That is 100% true. Who takes care of the caregivers?
Yeah.
Here's one. The person who takes care of the caregiver is the bad guy. That's the person telling the caregiver, you kind of got to stand down or take some time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that message to a caregiver, I married a caregiver, 43 years. It's not a pretty conversation.
No.
Because it's just like, you're coming off as a hard, what.
Yep.
And so, well, that's just my soapbox moment.
No, and that's a valid point, and that's often something that I do have to stop, take a step back, look at the landscape and say, all right, Aggie, there's not enough space for you to reset. And then I prioritize that. But as we know, it's so easy to get swept up in all the activity. But to your point as well, like it's the nonprofit space, right? There's this idea that if you run a nonprofit, then part of that is giving it away for free, which when you first start a nonprofit, that is what you have to do in order to survive. And then you want to become sustainable, but you also have to convince people that to fund you because the work that we're doing is impactful and it is changing people's lives. But they're like, but wait, you're a nonprofit, so your operating costs should be in the negatives. And I'm like, well, staff is operating like, yeah, we're not for profit. We're not selling a product to make profit, but we have to be able to be financially sustainable. And that's a really hard concept for people to accept that don't understand the nonprofit landscape.
Mhm.
So we are tirelessly trying to find corporate sponsors. Like that is our goal. Our offerings are based on our grants, right? So we get a grant, we'll say the grant's $100. And so we can provide this much with $100, great. Yes, there is a ripple effect to intervention, so we're able to provide it. But then when that population comes back and says, hey, like I had a mom last year, she's like, that parent coaching changed my life. I was in a tough spot. My husband and I were getting divorced. My kids were suffering, and this was a safe space for me. It provided me support and tools to apply at home. Are you offering it again? And I'm like, no, because we didn't get the grant. And that's hard, really hard. So we're looking to become financially sustainable. That is what we currently need to keep doing what we're doing.
So Sia, you help a lot, you're a business person, you help a lot of organizations who are out there. Cause I always say changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free. Money gotta change hands somewhere. So Sia, and this is a business show, talk to a business that's out there, why they need to help, and to the nonprofits, how can they better position themselves to approach a business about getting help for something really important like this?
Ooh, what a great conversation. So full disclosure, I do work with Walking Tall Movement, of which Raquel's wearing a shirt. She's
Shout out
worn
to
the
Chris.
merch. Yes, that's Chris Malazewski. And by the way, Business Bets and Buddies, thank you very much, Mike,
There we go,
is
right behind
actually
us.
sponsored by Walking Tall Movement, as well as I'm on the board for Caregiving Worldwide. And that is a media nonprofit. There is a for-profit side of it, but just to be clear, it is the first media dedicated to the caregiving industry. And it's not just the caregiving of geriatric care, it's everything, also including mental health, which is why there's a lot of collaboration that you'll see with Walking Tall, Caregiving Worldwide, and another organization I work with, Be Daring Foundation. And they are all about suicide advocacy, not advocacy, anti-advocacy, I guess, if you will, awareness, etc. But to answer your question is this. When I talk to a corporate clients and they are looking at how do we improve our positioning and really serve our mission and purpose, because, company corporate mission statements mean nothing if you do absolutely nothing to actually follow through. And if any of these generations that are coming up, the millennials and our pushing 40s, is showing our societal and our cultural shift, is that we do business with businesses that have purpose. So this is a great way to kind of smooth your way into that corporate conversation. They all have DEIs, right? They all have these groups that are forming. Now put your money where your mouth is. The best thing for businesses, you guys, it's taxable. Okay. You have write-offs. If you offer sponsorship, give donation, etc., it is a corporate tax write-off. And you're doing good, and you're helping everyone else's mission, whatever cause you want to support. The other thing that I'm noticing as well is that there are corporate entities that want to do business with each other, if you will, or they want their brands affiliated with one another. So what I've seen is if you put your nonprofit in the middle of that mix, they can literally, quote, by ecosystem and affiliation, be like, oh, we support Balance, for example, right? Like we're so the Balance Project, we're big support advocates. Now you have your two brands on the same page listed right next to each other. And that's that cross branding that they want to get without quote official corporate relationship, if that makes sense. There are a lot of creative ways to go about this, you guys, and it's a win-win. Both corporate entities
Yes.
get their taxable benefit. And then, of course, the Balance Project, Walking Tall, Caregiving Worldwide, Be Daring, and others get the benefit.
Mm.
So that's my answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I do. We bring in experts here. Adriana, so let's talk about being a first generation. When you come here, you don't understand the language. What's the pressure that it puts on kids? Like, all right, like Raquel is like, ooh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yep.
So the pressure puts on you, the pressure puts on the family.
Oh, I just remembered it was tough. It was tough on me. I remember just being like stressed. Like I felt like I had to be the adult in the family. Like I had to take care of the family, being 6, 7 years old, translating for my parents, doing things for my parents, making sure that I wasn't making a mistake for them, and that was really, really tough. And I think one of the hardest things too was going to school. Like going to school, trying to understand what the other kids are doing, trying to understand, how do I go back to my parents and show them my grades when my grades were not good because I didn't know what was going on. So that was really, really tough. This back in the 70s. So, it's in my age there, but back in the 70s, I mean, there was a lot less help for children that did not speak the language. Unfortunately now there's more assistance when it comes to that. But back then it was really, really, really tough. And I almost actually failed first grade.
I met a guy who had joined the Navy, and he had said he was there almost 2 weeks before they realized, he was from Puerto Rico, that they realized that he couldn't speak English.
Oh my God.
I'm like, how did that happen? But I'd met another person who had joined the Navy, and he was from Africa, and he had said he didn't speak English. Now being in the Army for a long time, I didn't know how that was possible. But they said the one guy from Puerto Rico said that one time they told him to do something, and he just looked at him. He said he followed everyone else. So that's how he learned how to do things, because he would see other people do it. And then he was by himself, and they told him to do something, and the person looked at him and realized he didn't speak English. So he went and got another Spanish person who spoke Spanish, and they taught him like, that's what it was. So for people who are not in the culture, we don't understand that pressure that it puts on people. Really quickly, ladies, let's talk about the man issue. I know we're winding things down. How are men doing? Are we better now with the talking about mental health?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my! When somebody starts off with "Oh my gosh," ladies and gentlemen, we get to go.
That's a loaded question too.
That's tough.
It's yes, and I guess again, I always default to the cultural factor because it has a lot to do with our men and in Hispanic men. They're taught to be very hardcore, that they can't show any weakness. And I know it's across the board as well in other cultural groups, but that, you can't cry, man, don't cry. You have to, suck it up, buttercup, and keep going. But I'm like, okay, you see all these men in their young adulthood, but break down when they reach 60, break down when they reach 70. And at that point, what good does it do? You just have to heal, right? You have to heal decades of all this mental anxiety, all these mental illnesses that you suffered in silence because you did not feel seen, validated, heard, and you thought something was wrong with you. Right. So for me, in that aspect, it's still very prevalent in my Salvadoran culture, and I'm speaking for El Salvador, but I do see it a lot in other Latin American countries where men are simply told, don't do that, or they feel like they can't. So we must keep advocating. Yes, we as women feel like we have a lot of support. I just feel sometimes men do not have the same, and we must continue using our voices, whether it's in English, Spanish, Cantonese, whatever language it is, to uplift them as well. Because at the end of the day, they're a very important part of our society and a workforce. So, yep, we have a lot of more work to do, Mike, and we just must continue just speaking up. If we hush, we bury the thing, and then we're going to go back to archaic times, and that's not what we want.
No, we want. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a business show. Really quick, let's get the information on the Balance Project. How do we get information out about that?
So you can visit www.thebalance-project.org. That's our website. We have a contact form. You can contact us there, answer questions. If you know, anything from small to big, we'll do whatever we can to connect you to the resources you need.
Alrighty, see ya.
Go to brilliantbmedia.com and there's also contact us, and you can reach our team for anything that you have regarding incorporating business with social media.
All right, really quickly, we got to give a shout out to our man, Mike, the Hounds of Business, the Redneck Financial Guru. Really quickly, tell folks about the Hounds of Business, ladies.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic community and it lives on LinkedIn. So that's where you really can find us. It's a community that is vibrant and with so many expert entrepreneurs and professionals in different industries all over the world. So it's a thriving ecosystem where you will have support. We will embrace you and you will grow exponentially, whether in whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's personal growth or professional growth. We're here for everyone. We love everyone.
There you go.
Very, very authentic community.
It really is. I mean, hey, you guys welcome me and I appreciate it. I feel the love. Alrighty, Adriana, how can people find you?
Well, I am available 7 days a week. So if you guys
She
ever
is
need-
available,
I
and you know,
am
she has her
7 days a week.
phone there. One of the great parts about when I rock with her is the amount what she brings to the table. You know, it is an understanding of people. And like I say, I'm not in my studio because I only rock with the best. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, I appreciate you ladies coming on. As I always say, you can't hang out with me. You guys got stuff to do changing the world. I'm ready to go home. I've been out for 3 hours now. It's a Monday. I had a lot of my grandkids this weekend, so I'm beat.
Oh.
I'm gonna go to the house and pull the blinds down. All right, we gotta go. One of Mike and Mike. Take care, ladies. Thanks now.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
See ya.
Take care.